the Masters of the Universe.
Battle in the clouds. On the tallest peak of the planet Eternia's mightiest mountain perched a watchful master of the universe, the winged one, Stratos. He listened to the whistling wind and he heard the echoes of an angry voice. I crave power! I was born to rule all of Eternia! Stratos recognized the voice as that of the evil Skeletor, and he flew off to see if he could locate the sounds that he had heard. The sound took Stratos to Castle Grayskull. He-Man and the fiendish Skeletor were locked in a gory battle. Stratos saw He-Man use the battle ram to blast Skeletor's lightning weapon from his hand. He heard the villain yell as powerful energies shocked him. He-Man seemed to be winning the fight. Other eyes watched the battle too. Merman, the sea creature, one of Skeletor's underlings, was there. You are a fool, Skeletor! You can never defeat me as long as I possess my battle ram and this suit that increases my strength, exclaimed He-Man. With that, he demonstrated the value of the suit by hurling Skeletor through the air towards the sea. Merman cast a greedy eye. With He-Man's weapons, I could be Skeletor's equal. I will help Skeletor. So saying, Merman headed towards the water. Stratos saw that He-Man needed no help, so he turned in flight and headed for his mountain home. That cursed demon, roared Skeletor as Merman struggled to pull him from the sea. He will pay, and pay dearly for this deed. That I vow. I can help you defeat He-Man, grinned Merman. And for my reward, I want his weapons. They are yours if we win, agreed Skeletor. Hark, Stratos, called He-Man as he spotted the warrior in midair. I did not know you were so near, friend. But before Stratos could reply, he went into action, swooping down to lift the battle ram and He-Man above the twin blasts that were blazing from Merman and Skeletor's weapons. I am glad I heard your call, said Stratos. Not as glad as I, replied He-Man. A great gust of wind toppled He-Man from the battle ram. Only his super garment had prevented his death, but he was unconscious. Unaware of He-Man's fall, Stratos flew on, battling the gale. If we are to climb those heights, we will need more than legs, growled Merman. And I know where to get what we need, leered the sinister Skeletor. Yes, I know what to do. You have your transportation. Now go after He-Man. I will watch this beauty, smiled Skeletor. Yes, master, replied Merman. And when I return, I will have He-Man and his weapons. Teela gasped in horror as Skeletor's energy blade struck her animal, sending it in a gallop toward the mountain where He-Man lay unconscious. Fiend! You will never win! Screamed Teela. By the time He-Man was coming out of his dazed condition, Merman had reached a place from which he could make a swift attack. A super-strength suit does not have a force field, thought Merman. Dismounting from the horse, he picked up a huge boulder and hurled it at the half-conscious He-Man. All I have to do is rip off that suit, and it's mine, Merman said. The master of the universe was no match for a wild man who had used savage means to cripple him, and as Merman ripped off He-Man's strength garment, he gloated. Now, He-Man, you are unarmed, and I am super strong. Soon I will possess your battle ram, and then I will return to deal with you. Fiend, what have you done with Teela? He-Man struggled to ask. Merman did not reply. He-Man pretended complete defeat until Merman departed. If I am to reach Stratos and find where he put my battle ram. I am going to need help, he thought. Then he cupped his hands towards his mouth and gave an animal call towards the forest. In response, something powerful gave a deep growl and bolted from the woods. Come, He-Man commanded, and Battle Cat sprang to his master. He-Man leaped to the back of Battle Cat. Soon the beast was bounding obediently across the rugged terrain, stopping at He-Man's home just long enough for He-Man to put on his force field suit. Moments later, they were rapidly approaching Eternia's Master of Weapons, Man-at-Arms. I need your help, called He-Man to a waiting armored figure. The situation is grave. Indeed, it must be grave for the mighty He-Man to ask for help, replied Man-at-Arms. I will join you in your battle against evil. As He-Man explained Merman's plot and Teela's certain danger, Man-at-Arms climbed aboard his incredible Wind Raider. Soon they were on their way to Stratos' mountain to stop Merman from capturing He-Man's battle ram. Finally, they reached the end of their journey, but Merman had seen them coming and he vanished amid the twisting clouds. I fear that your battle cat would never survive the climb, Man-at-Arms said to He-Man. I agree, sighed He-Man, patting the animal's sinewy hide. He said, Go back to your forest. This ascent must be made with a steed of metal. With a whimper, strangely out of character for its size and fierce appearance, Battle Cat obeyed his master. When he turned to look back, He-Man had already entered Man-at-Arms' Wind Raider. I prefer my own battle ram, said He-Man. Ah, but could your battle ram so easily get up this rocky slope? Asked Man-at-Arms, knowing it could not. He-Man remained silent. Meanwhile, Merman had found the battle ram and he pondered the weapons on it. I wonder what this button will produce, he said, groping at one of the battle ram's controls. Had he not quickly jumped aside, Merman would have been blasted by a deadly laser gun. With this, I can easily conquer He-Man and even Skeletor, he boasted. I would not even need that strength suit. As Merman mastered the battle ram's operation, He-Man became more determined to get back his property. Yet as the Wind Raider continued its ascent, the steepness of the mountain slowed it almost to a halt. He-Man hung on to Man-at-Arms for dear life. Like my battle cat, your Wind Raider cannot make the climb, chided He-Man. If I had my super suit for strength, I could carry us the rest of the way. No need for your battle cat, Man-at-Arms replied. Brute strength must oftentimes give way to science. Hold on tight, my friend. Man-at-Arms worked the Wind Raider's controls. The vehicle's wings leveled in the wind, and rapidly the ship rose into the chilled air. Your point has been taken, said He-Man, his voice swept by the speed. But must we fly so fast? Reaching the mountaintop summit, He-Man and Man-at-Arms were greeted by a volley of deadly rays. I had not expected you to follow me, yelled the man of the sea, but I was ready anyway. I have had time to learn how to use your weapons. Merman continued to blast his enemies. The battle ram can destroy us, He-Man said. Do not be so sure, replied Man-at-Arms. Taking the offensive, Man-at-Arms flew his machine directly at Merman and the battle ram, but Merman maneuvered out of the way, then turned his ship, firing its battering device. Ah! Groaned Man-at-Arms as he was struck hard and flung from the Wind Raider. He-Man reacted with remembered horror as Man-at-Arms dropped toward the rocky ground. Only Man-at-Arms' remarkable armor saved him from death. Looking up, he saw the battle between He-Man and Merman was just beginning. Only one of us will survive this battle, He-Man vowed, aiming the Wind Raider directly at the battle ram. And it will not be you, Merman! The two vehicles collided like a pair of battering rams, but both ships survived the impact. The battle raged in the clouds, with He-Man and Merman locked in mortal combat. But suddenly, from nowhere, Stratos, with wings folded behind his back, dropped from the sky. Now it was Merman's turn to be knocked senseless. The battle ram's weapons were silenced as its evil pilot lost control and fell. "When I found you missing, I dropped your machine and returned to find you," Stratos called out. "Now that you found me and it," yelled He-Man, "get ready to use it. After I take my string suit from Merman, we must find Teela, rescue Man-at-Arms from a ledge, and then let Skeletor know that he and his underlings have met another defeat." Riding off on the wonderful vehicles, Stratos called to He-Man, "Sometimes steeds of metal and machinery beat wings and wits." Both smiled. Finish this adventure on your own with the Series 1 action figures and the upcoming Series 2 action figures with new mini comics to go over and enjoy. Next time on Tales of the Masters of the Universe, He-Man meets Ram Man. And remember to please share, like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, take care, keep safe, and thank you once again.